The 2017 BMW IBSF four-man bobsleigh World Championships starts here. We're at Königssee in Bavaria on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Hello everybody, I'm Martin Haven. Alongside me is John Morgan. John, stunning conditions to get the blue ribbon event of the championships underway.
Huge crowd that includes Thomas Bach, the head of the IOC, on hand to watch this morning's skeleton. He's here for four-man bobsled on this short 1,300-meter track, the first ever artificial cold track that was built way back in '69. They adjusted it to bobsledding in the early '70s, put a Kreisel in the mid-'70s, and it's an exciting track for competition. Team Oscar's Mel Bardis, that team's been intact for 4 years. They have the start record. Got to get out around this first curve and settle, because the first of the demons on this track is this 4 S's, the Schauengrube, the snake pit. Boy, you can lose a lot of time here. Can you prevent the acceleration you need into this straightaway? But it's not a straightaway, it's a bend around. You're gonna hit a couple times, that's the norm. Jenna curve, short, quick turn into the turbodrome, this Kreisel. This is the exit of this curve is where all the problems are for Skeleton and Bob, right in here. 100-meter little section of labyrinths. Kelstein, 75 plus miles an hour. Echovant. Now you go uphill, you think you're relaxing, you can't relax here. You're going uphill for 150 meters. You could throw away all your good work in that last 150 meters to finish. Look at the stunning views we have here today. Team Johannes Lochter's got the track record here from 3 weeks ago. I think we got a good little race coming up, Martin.
We have got a fantastic race in prospect. 34 sleds from 19 different nations. 10 drivers making their first ever four-man World Championship appearance. And there is your reigning world champion, Oscar's Mel Bardis. 85% fit, he reckons. Do you know what? A 50% fit Oscar's Mel Bardis is still a powerful weapon. But Johannes Lochter, the Bavarian, still, well, as you can gather, still suffering with a fierce flu. There's your four-time two-man world champion and two-time junior world champion, Francesco Friedrich, and the third of our Germans, Nico Walter. Can he find himself on the medal here in the World Championships? That would be a bit of a tough ask. Go! Well, Canada and Austria among the contenders, perhaps. Canada off a really good two-man performance last week by a couple of their drivers, Chris Bing and Nick Polignato. Polignato getting another very good start draw. Top 10 in the world go from 6 to 15, and then it's a random draw for the rest. So those top 5 spots could be very beneficial. Only 2 former four-man champions in the field. Stephen Holcomb goes 12th. Oscar's Kibermanis goes 14th out of our 34-strong field. And we have a World Championship first as well. In the four-man competition, for the first time ever, we have an all-female four-man crew. Maria Constantin of Romania, who took a bronze medal in the team competition last weekend with her teammates, will drive that sled starting 34th. To get the 2017 four-man World Championships off to a start, Dorin Grigori of Romania. Romanian sleds will go first and 34th in our field. I'm Martin Haven, alongside me John Morgan, ready to see what this Königssee track can produce. It's been fireworks in training, and although the gold medal looks like it has a favourite, the other positions might be up for grabs.
First 5 sleds are from the back of the draw. It's the new rule they've implemented to put 5 sleds from the back of the draw in the first 5. Basically, it's going to scratch up the track, even things out. There's been some strange things happening with a couple sleds in the front part of the draw. They've got this great ice to work with. Boy, do you see the spray come off that first curve as they went in there? We'll keep our eyes on that take on to that first curve. You can hit it with too much pressure.
Look how beautiful the ice looks today. It was cold, hard frost overnight, stunning day. The track has been freshly prepared for this four-man Formula One on ice event. 114 kilometers an hour in the Kreisel.
Exit down into this danger zone. Watch the back end of the sleds here. Unbelievable that the four-mans with that much pressure into that Kelstein curve, 80 miles an hour almost, 4+ Gs. There's the uphill section of the track. Keep your eyes on the speeds. On this track, you can find speed in the bottom if you're a good pilot and you have a good acceleration point out of the Kreisel. not only in four-man bobsled, but all the disciplines. We saw some real strange numbers in the skeleton competition related to people having good exits out of Kreisel. Look at the crowds.
Huge crowd right below our commentary positions. There's Doran Grigori, steps out the sled, first of what he hopes will be 4 heats. 3 heats for everyone, then the top 20 in the world go in the 4th and final run.
Boy, he's a second off the track record. I believe we could get close to that track record today. The start, in, down, quickly. This is steep, and they got to be settled before the first curve. They show us what happened here in the first curve. Watch the spray come up. See that little spray in the bottom? I don't know if that's because the first sled down and this track has been spritzed. Watch the pressure here in the back end of the sleds. You're going to see some of these sleds, the back end, back runner up in the air.
Some of these sleds, you'll see the crew up in the air. Next up, Ivo de Bruin for the Netherlands. Tom van Alden, new to the team. Jeroen Pick rejoined the squad after leaving in 2014. He was in last week's two-man, and Janko Francic on the back of this sled for the Netherlands.
Good opportunity for Ivo de Bruin. Oh, but they drifted, and they don't have the arms in. They aren't settled. Hard on the take-on. Drift there. 900s. He should be 10, 1500s minimum ahead of the remaining sled at the bottom with his World Cup ranking and experience.
A little more stable on this long curving straightaway, which has got 3 corners in it into Jena, and then this big 270-degree Kreisel, 71.8 miles an hour, nearly a mile an hour faster than the Romanians, and that shows.
Yeah. Speed on the bottom now. The Romanians had 123.2. Let's see what Ivo de Bruin, 123.5. So he's going to be about 3,300, 27. Didn't pick up that much on the bottom.
Tom Delahunty looking happy with that. He's been helping the Dutch team this season on a budget that makes a shoestring look overfed. But look, they're happy with that. That felt like a good run, and they've seen their start time as well. Sub 5 seconds is a big target for these guys.
Yeah, you talk about working with nothing, the pressures of the Dutch Olympic Committee demanding big results before they get any money. Well, you can't put the cart before the horse. And here, the horses have to get in and get down. This sled's going to drift to our right. That photographer should be moved out of the way. Drift to the right there, that's not good.
Guy at 2 struggled to get his feet around the little driver's seat. It's a tiny, 3-inch high crescent that the driver braced himself again. There's Wim, who builds the Eurotech sleds down there. Happy Dutchman. And Nick Polonyato, what a story last week. 5th position in the two-man World Championships on his debut. Anything from here on is just money in the bank.
House money he's playing with right now.
Yeah. But what confidence the Canadians took. A medal for Cripps, a 5th for Polo on his debut.
Sunderland, the petro engineer from Fort McMurray. 484, great start, really impressive. These Canadians, all 3 teams, the Canadian program in general, once they got rid of that runner rule where the Canadians came back into the mix, they didn't have that figured out, but
they were always there at the start all season long, and whoa, and there's the drama exiting the S's.
There's the first example of what this track can do on the exit of the S's. 1:15.4, that's not the speed the Dutch had, and that's related to him getting the track sideways.
Still very close, just a 1/10 of a mile an hour slower than the Dutch. He's still in the lead.
He had a big lead from the start and the top before the S's. Let's see what he gets here down on the finish with the speed. 1:24.6, that's the best speed. He'll be the leader.
That's a good run from Nick Polonyato. Despite that huge skid, he kept his nerve.
I see some track record. We're getting close.
48.93, the track record, 48.45, and he would have won a drift competition down that straightaway.
That's 2000s. That was 2000s. You can't get a 4-man sled in trouble like that. When you do get a 4-man sled in trouble, it goes where it wants to. And watch this. Here's the exit of the S's. He hits the inside wall on the left, bang, and now it's, look at him trying to get control. He can't. You will not see too many more sleds with that many problems in that exit. Otherwise, Nick, what a great week you've had here in Königssee.
fourth of 36 sleds in the first of 4 heats of the Men's Bobsled World Championships for 4-man. This is Markus Treichel, the Austrian, making his debut. Now, he has raced in a 4-man World Championships before, but not in the front seat. He was a brakeman in Eagles last year for Lukas Kolp, and he's overhauled Lukas Kolp in their driver standings.
Just saw his parents. Short drive over, a couple hours from Innsbruck. Eagles. Father's one of the board of directors of Austria Bob and Skeleton. 491, not bad. Been impressed with this guy. He's always on that street learning curve. Speed at the 100 meters. Keep your eye on that. That's the load where everybody gets in the sled, gets down, gets settled before that first hard curve. Look at that exit. Beautiful. Now,
he's only done 3 World Cups this season, 20th here 3 weeks ago in the World Cup race.
Best speed we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Let's see if he can get out of here clean. He can get into that Nick Polinato lead. He's got a dead. Oh, he's late there. So him and Polinato are pretty well equal heat. Now he's taking over the lead. This has got to be top speed here too. It is 125.3.
125.3, and at the line by about 2/10, 1800ths.
Yeah, they know. That's a good run. This is a World Cup rookie. He's got the bug. You could see it, his parents.
Yeah.
You can see it with him. You can see the way their team approaches each week. They'll be happy with this.
Yeah, good fresh ice. He had a decent 2-man competition, and there's a big smile under that helmet. All the Austrian girls who competed last year and last weekend are back here helping with the sleds at the bottom.
Well, down below, watch the back end of the sled. Now, he's going fast, probably the fastest he's been all week. Look at this, the back end of this 1,400-pound sled is up in the air, and then it catches, look at that, pictures, catches the take on it. Kelstein, how many G's has that got to be, especially for the brakeman? Look, this is the same pictures, a little bit of a skid there, but Markus, pretty good run.
That's a good loosener from Markus Treichel, fourth of our 36 sleds down. Now, Thomas Heibel also been getting assistance from the Dutch coach, Tom Delahunty. He said, I'm helping him out, there's no one. The 5th member of this 4-man crew is his father, who was a former bobsledder. So that's them. That's their entire Norwegian team.
But his father was a West German bobsledder from this region, competed on this track in the 70s.
So Thomas Heibel with his brother,
there's his father
on the back. In fact, there are 6 of them here, and Tom Delahunty helping out. He said he's been quicker than Ivo de Bruyne in training. Heibel's had some good runs, 5:21.
And expected the speed at the start, but he did have some pretty good time in training for the start deficiency.
Hasn't started a World Cup race this season until we came to St. Moritz and Königssee. He was 28th here 3 weeks ago.
Trying to get control, 3 hits. You only want to try and hit twice. 115.1, considering that start, that's not bad. See if you can get clean down here on the bottom. You can find time down here on the bottom part of this track.
Nice exit from the Kreisel, little bump right at the end of the labyrinth. Let's see how close he can get.
Boy, he was really low in the Echo Von. Got a skid, speed's the 3rd best speed.
And at the line, 4th place, 6,800s back. Ivo de Bruyne, 4,100s back in 3rd place.
He's tied with the Romanians, exact tied. The Romanians beat him by 2,300s at the start. He got beat by Treichel at the start by 30 hundredths. And he's only 68 down, that's not bad.
Norway with the 4-man team. They've got a men and women's competitor in the skeleton as well. And their women's competitor, you might know her name, 2006 Olympic champion, racing here.
Watch this. Now there's only one real line down here. Look at the difference in the speed after the Schellen group. You could see that the Austrian sled had a half a kilometer better speed. And boy, when you deal with hundreds of seconds, half a kilometer's a lot. Put your seatbelt on.
Yeah, this is the money, the smart money for our gold medal. Markus Treichel, the leader after the first 5 heats, but best draw from the top 10 in the world is Johannes Lochner. Lochner won here, his 3rd 4-man win of the season 3 weeks ago.
This is going to be a rocket start, should be down maybe high 70s.
And these four guys set the track record 3 weeks ago.
Look how smooth he got into first curve, unlike those other sleds.
That's only 5/100ths of a second off the all-time start record.
And now he owns the track record at the bottom. He's 24. He's only 600ths of the track record. If this gets to 30, you're going to see a new track record here, and he's going to set the pace for the World Championships. Speed, enormous.
Sixth in last year's Worlds. He's half a mile an hour faster than anybody else.
Wow, this is track record all the way. If he holds it down here, 118 speed, he'll do it.
45 is the track record. He's
wow,
on target to beat
way
it
over it. He's
going to
crush it.
Wow, 48.26. That's 19/100ths of a second quicker. That's the sort of margin we saw Jacqueline Lurling beat the track record by in the team competition last week.
His parents live a mile down the track. The last event in Eagles, he was disqualified for hot runners, four-man. At one point in the season, he had won 5 of 7 2- and 4-man races. Then he got sick. Then he got disqualified. Then he did this. Wow. I mean,
that's a way to bounce back.
What a mission he's on right now. That's a statement to send to the rest of the people up top.
And he is still chock full of cold. Well, there you see the bungees that hold the little positioning block on the sled to stop the cowling get cracked. And this is Rico Peter of Switzerland. Rico Peter, bronze medalist in the four-man worlds last year in Innsbruck in Austria.
You see Conan is a new addition to the team. He's got the red hat. He came over from the Ad Hefty's team. So a change. They've had a lot of time this week to work on their push.
And another change, Alex Baumann, his talisman last year, is back in the sled for the first time in a while.
So they're going to have to match mid-80s start, 484, 485. Rico was pretty quick in training. 43, excellent. Speed in the left, best. So they took the Germans, had a better start time, but they had a better entry into the sled and the exit around the first curve. And he's already in red numbers, though.
Yeah, gets into the S's, 200
That's not good there.
Long drift down the straight.
Speed, he's going to need some huge speed here. 117.4. That's
fastest of all. Quicker than we've seen anybody into the Kreisel.
But he's 1600ths back.
Ooh, a little rocky at the bottom.
He might have erased some of that speed with that skin. That's 126.4, second best speed.
Yeah, just a whisker behind Lochner, and at the line, big slide across the line, takes maybe another 10th out. It's a 48.56.
I want to tell you something.
Back.
I don't know where he lost the time, but he lost an eternity of time.
He lost it everywhere after the S's.
Wow. Wow, he's only 1900ths above Trico. Trico hasn't been that close to Rico Peter in his career. Watch this skid. Okay, this is 1,400 pounds, not coming down the ice squarely. Then here, let's watch the back end. This looks pretty good.
It's the going away. Look at the end here. He hits the wall hard.
Airborne,
and then that
drift. Look at that. Look at those pictures, the way that bottom left runner is airborne.
And digs the right front runner into the Kehlstein curve, and that really causes a lot of friction too. Well, these bobsleds are built for speed and definitely not for comfort. There are no seats except for the little backrest the driver presses against, and everybody else just puts up with the discomfort. Alexei Stulnev of Russia, 8th of our starters, and Stulnev lies 4th in the World Cup rankings. 1 medal this season, a bronze here 3 weeks ago. Johannes Lochner was the winner. Nico Walter took the silver. Stulnev, will he be the best of the Russians again today?
He's going to need a mid-80s start to challenge. I mean, he's been a speed merchant, especially on this track a couple weeks ago when he got his first ever World Cup medal in the four-man competition. Start though, 57.5 is the speed. Third, 44 is decent. I gotta believe if he gets a good line here out of the S's, he'll be number 2 at the bottom.
9th in last year's Worlds in Innsbruck, gets a good exit.
Look at this.
He's gonna challenge Rico Peter for sure.
117.6.
Rico was
117.1. No, he's
behind.
off by half a kilometer there.
Rico was 1600s behind there. 24 behind here, and Stulnev is still in second, only 1300s behind Lochner.
126 flat, probably, speed. 26.6 best speed of anybody. This is what he does.
Holding on.
This is what he's been doing.
Wow, look at that. 2300s behind Lochner. You would have thought only a German might get that close. There's Alexander Zubkov, former world and reigning Olympic four-man champion.
Well, that uphill section, the last 150 meters of the track, that speed is entered as you go into that echo bond. And then you come up and you can lose and gain a lot of time with the, look at the dartfish, the distance comparison. Stulnev, look at that, he's an extra meter, almost a full meter traveled around that Kreisel curve. That's got to be worth the 1000s.
At that speed, that's 300ths of a second, a meter. Next up is our second Austrian sled, the better of the two drivers, on paper at least. Benny Meyer has really had a standout year in both 2 and 4-man, lies 8th in the World Cup rankings, bronze medal in Winterberg. His best result, he was only 9th here though 3 weeks ago. Marcus Treichel, his teammate, currently lies in 4th spot. Girlfriend Elizabeth Arche just finished 6th in the Women's Skeleton World Championship. She was delighted with that result.
Great start. Boy,
really
so many teams have, oh boy, he just barely got out of that first curve. Too much steering there. That's why he had the 4th velocity. Steered around that curve, and that wasn't good for speed.
Still tied with Lochner.
400's back now.
Wow. So somehow he got tied with Lochner out of that first corner.
9th in this event a few weeks ago. 116.9, that speed is off.
That's 0.3 of a mile an hour, but
he's still hanging in there.
Closer than anybody's been to Johannes Lochner into the Kreisel and out of it. Nobody's been within 1/10 of Lochner.
125.7.
He's going to be close, but maybe just in front of Stulnev. No, 400's behind the Russian.
That's a good run.
That's a really good run. We're almost a quarter of a second away from Johannes Lochner. 400's behind Stulnev of Russia.
He's 8th in World Cup points. Peter's 2nd in World Cup points. But Peter got 11th here in this track 3 weeks ago.
He had 9th.
9th, so
yeah.
it's, you know, he's a little bit
But Stulnev, who's only 400s in front, was the bronze medalist here 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, with huge speed in the bottom. Look at the way he gets around this first curve. I mean, that's a strange angle.
Well,
you want to come around.
the corner off the curve, didn't he?
That's
totally.
too much steering.
Yeah.
Great job by our crew picking that up. Then here in the back end of the sled, okay, this is 80 miles an hour. This is 1,400 pounds. Now, look at their back right's airborne. Now it's bouncing into the take-on, the back left airborne. Now look at the change of direction. Wow.
And saw the ice dug out by that right front runner there. So Germany lead. What chance for Nico Walter? He's got the legendary Kevin Kuska behind him, Kevin Corona and Eric Franke. These guys have been on the losing end of the German battle all season long. Is this where they get to turn it round?
Driving a brand new FES sled that he told me has got all the bells and whistles. And FES, they build all the sports equipment for German Olympic teams. Look at the start.
Fastest so far.
Wow, to give Nico Walter a start like that. Of course, he's got a couple Andre Longa guys in the back of the sled. But Walter, this is show up or go home.
Oh, that little tap with the back runner, back bail has knocked him into a huge skid, but he still leads.
Doesn't have speed though.
No, a kilometre an hour down on
real high there.
And in the red he goes. He had to hang it off late off the Kreisel. He's going to be second. Will he be within 1/10 of the leader, 1/10 of the hot favourite?
Losing a lot of time down here. 5th best speed.
200s away,
Second.
200s away.
That's a bad drive. He has not had a good start his whole season till this day. Kevin Kuska, the guy standing up. He's got 4 gold medals and 1 silver.
He can't believe it. Look at Nico Walter. He can't believe those 2 major errors.
Finally got a start time. He's got to go back up and say, wow, you guys finally gave me what I need and I didn't do it. Look at the speed.
See
Wow.
Lochner's line, and look at Walter. That little tap with the back kicks him into a slide. And look, he loses half a sled distance on the straight.
Straight, yeah, that's...
Oh,
Nico, shake it off, Nico.
can't catch a break this season, Nico Walter. Talked to him about the sleds. Andre Lange said to him, stick with FES. You might have a down year, but you'll have more up years.
Oh, another German.
Well, a German with a number of World Championship medals around his neck now. 9 World Championship golds in teams, juniors, and in two-man for Francesco
This
Friedrich.
could be sub-80s here also, maybe 75, maybe challenge the track record. There it is!
Oh my goodness, 475 for Francesco Friedrich's
Wow! And he struggled on this track though with the 4-man.
100th inside a 3-year-old start record.
And he was the Olympic, he won the 2-man last year, and in Innsbruck he was the leader going into the 14. He could not hold the lead, lost to Belbardis, or else he could have been a double world champ. Look at the speed this sled is carrying. Wow! This track record.
Still a 10th in front. Unless he drops in the red, it's guaranteed to be a new track record. He's going to take the lead from Johannes.
No, he's lost
no,
it.
He's not. Lochner had more below the labyrinth, and into second he goes.
But Lochner went earlier. Lochner went 5-6 sleds earlier. They're going to go next to each other pretty quick in this next run. Boy, with that start. Wow.
They outstarted Lochner by 6, finished 13 hundredths behind, so that's a 1900th of a second loss down the track.
This is
for
a Walmer
Francesco
sled
Friedrich.
also, just like Lochner has. It's not the FES. Okay, 4 huge men. Look at the speed difference. Friedrich, you know, look how quick it took him to get there.
10th of a second faster, 0 to 30.
And then that's the acceleration into the first curve. They had the best acceleration too in the first curve. Had some problems down on the bottom.
And listen, he's riding the crest of a wave, isn't he? Just taking his 4th straight two-man World Championship title. Johannes Lochner leads by 13. Germany 1-2-3, covered by 22 hundredths. Steve Holcomb of the USA, 4-man Olympic champion in Whistler 2010, world champion in 2-man, 4-man and team race in 2012 in the USA at Lake Placid. Has he got a shot here? He's using a different sled, John Morgan, from one he's ever driven before. He's had 6 trips ever in this sled.
He's never driven a non-American sled in his career in competition until this race. Oh, back came up. They're going to need high 80s is probably their target, but he's been suffering at the start. But we know what he can do down below. 81!
That's
awesome!
a great getaway.
For Holcomb, get a start like that. 3rd best velocity. Wow, that's way better starts than he got here 3 weeks ago when he was only 100th off the podium.
This is an Austrian-built sled, and he says it is as different to drive as a car is from a bicycle.
That's as clean as anybody there. Speed, though.
100th in the lead at the Kreisel, 1:17.3.
That's a
We've seen
kilometer down.
1:18, so he'll go into the red here, but he is
Still
in
in the hunt.
contention already.
And he's magical down here in the bottom part of the track. Nobody's got better eyes and hands than Steve Holcomb till
big
that.
skid.
Wow.
He said to me yesterday, you're going to see me over-driving this sled.
He just did there.
49, a 10th behind.
Wow. Steve Holcomb. When was the last time that we saw him make a mistake like that? But in his defense, he had 3 practice trips, then 6 official trips.
Yep.
He's had 9 trips with the sled.
So he's saying normally the sled he's used to, lots of steering movement here, almost no movement of the hands at all. He said it's so different.
Eckelvand, okay. This is an uphill section of the track. Watch what happens. You can't do that in the uphill section of the track. That's got to be worth 10, 1500s. Look at the coaches.
And that's where the tiny fractional extra movement of his hands brought the sled off a little early for the back end to be able to follow
And
it.
look what Holcomb does. This is his signature on the track.
He'll be running all the way back to the end of the run. Alexander Kazyanov of Russia next up. And Kazyanov with a bit of a struggle on his hands. Won the opener in the season. silver medal in Altenburg, the first European race, and has withered away. He still leads the World Cup standings by just 14 points over Rico Peter, but he hasn't had a good day since the first week of January.
Well, everybody else has got the big-time starts. The Russians are going to need it. They're going to need low 80s here to have a chance. They got it. This is as good a driver as there is on the planet. Nice entry. Only the 5th best velocity. That's not bad. And we saw Stulnev do pretty good in the bottom part of the track. And Stulnev's in 4th right now.
And he is tied for the lead. Kazyanov just 200s behind onto the bend away.
117 high is to give him a chance. 117.5 he might have a chance. 117.6.
Wow. Second fastest into the Kreisel. Can he hold it on the exit? Yes, good exit.
Russians have good way to get speed on the bottom of the track. We've seen that with Stulnev, especially a couple weeks ago.
Took a big hit. Stulnev the fastest sled, and the Russian
in the
sled
5th top speed though.
Not far behind. Not far behind. Top 6 held by a quarter second. Benny Meyer 2700s behind in 7th. Wow.
We have 3 sleds with 78.6 mile-an-hour speeds. Holcomb 78.5. Both Russian sleds 78.4, 78 flat.
Stulnev, Holcomb, and Kazyanov 4th, 5th, and 6th, separated by 200s.
That's bobsledding on this track. 4-man bobsledding to the 100th of a second. We're going to see a lot of it. Back end here, look at this in the speed zone. Kazyanov 0.3 of a kilometer down.
Yeah.
Look at airborne there. The back left, and then, but that was pretty good transition on the Kelstein.
That cost him at least a 10th.
He went from 2nd best speed to 5th. Look at that hop there.
Yeah. That's at least a 10th of a second. That might have put him in 3rd, maybe, if he hadn't had that hit. But ifs don't get things done. Best Latvian driver this season has been Oskars Kibermanis, winner in Samarits, his first ever 4-man gold medal. But here 3 weeks ago, crashed from winning Samarits way down the order. He didn't actually crash the sled, but a 14th place finish, a massive deflation for him.
Well, it's called the exit of Kreisel. This track eats people alive. And he's a young pilot still at the age of 22. But he broke out this year with 2 medals and 2-man and 4-man gold at St. Moritz. He's arrived.
How do these guys get in the sled the way they do?
Speed, 2nd best kilometer speed at the entrance to curve 1.
400s up on Johannes Lochner off a slower start.
He's pretty good at training, and those are great lines.
Still leading Lochner as he gets onto the straight.
Watch out here, 117.6. 117.6. So now he's got a chance to challenge. Let's see the back end of the sled in the transition right here.
How many more sleds are we going to get in the top 3? Because this is another excellent run.
Well, remember, the track's getting scratched up, too. These guys are coming late. Now he's lost all the time. This is the same thing he did in the first competition here 3 weeks ago. Look at the amount of time he lost. Yep. 3,500s on the bottom part of the track. Now, we've seen the track slow up, but it didn't slow up for Holcomb and Kazyanov. Holcomb and Kazyanov maintained to stay within reach. I say that's not within reach of a medal.
Yeah, 4 tenths away, that's a lot to make up.
But to start, okay, these young Latvians, most of them are all decathletes, including Kibermanis. Kibermanis is a name that you watch out next week, 3 weeks from now when we go to the Pyeongchang. If this track suits his style, this track doesn't. He's a little confused there.
Well, here's our 3rd Russian sled. This is Maxim Anjanov. Anjanov, new to the World Cup this season. And he's only done a handful of top flight races. Currently lying in 9th place. Best result, 8th here and in Winterberg. And he was 7th in the season opener in Whistler.
Look at him look for the green light. He's still looking for the green light.
Well, he should have seen it 25 seconds ago, nearly.
Now they're at 30. Yeah, they did. You're right. It was cleared. Why are they waiting? They're waiting. They're waiting for 30 seconds. That was their coach must have told them. When it gets to 30 seconds, we want to go. Hoping that the temperature of the track is changing. It's getting colder. The sun's setting. So if you get a temperature change of a degree, that's going to be to your advantage. Harder, faster ice. Start, not bad. 12th best speed. Russian flags all over the front of our booth.
All over the front of everywhere.
13, not bad. Anything above 117 would be good. 116.
11th fastest at the start, still in 11th place, ahead of Nick Polonyato of Canada. Now he's up to 10th, ahead of Marcus Treichel of Austria. The top 5 starters outside the top 10 in the world are currently outside the top 10. Up to 9th, ahead of Oskars Kibermanis. He's got more speed than the Latvian. 8th, no, 9th at the line, behind Rico Peter by 400.
Zubkov's got to be happy with that. He's got 3 sleds in the top 9.
Yep.
But
none of them in the top 3.
He's quite a tough taskmaster. He won the World Championship 2-man gold medal on this track in 2011, so he knows what it takes to win on a German track.
It's like Christoph Langen being your coach. When Zubkov's your coach, best isn't good enough.
The lines through there. Look at Andrianov compared to Lochner. Lochner traveled a lot less distance, a full meter less, and we're dealing with hundreds of seconds.
Yeah, that's half a sled length. 15 sleds down, race being led, tight race being led by Johannes Lochner of Bavaria. Justin Cripps of Canada, a season that he would rather forget until last Sunday and Saturday, when suddenly it all came good and he found himself in medal contention from start to finish of the 2-man race.
He's got Kopchak in here.
Alexander Kopac's back in the team at 2, Jesse Lumsden at 3.
Great start. See this velocity?
Lascelles Brown.
9th best velocity, though.
Yeah. Well, Cripps' spirit is way up. So relieved to actually achieve what they knew was somewhere in there. He's still tying with the lead.
Yeah, the 117.6 is the magic number. Anything around 116.8. Well, the track, you got to give everybody a little credit here. The track's not as quick as it was. This is still pretty good. He's he's at 4th.
4th place. He was down to 5th going into the Kreisel, so he's found a little bit of speed below. And this is what he did in the 2-man race.
Yeah, he's up to
3rd
3rd.
place.
Wow,
This is exactly
even with
what
that
he did in
drift.
the 2-man.
Wow, 4th. He's tied.
Wow, no, he's 100.
3 tie. Three-way tie for 4th.
Wow.
Holcomb, Stulneff, and Cripps are tied to the 100. And Kazanov's 200s behind that, and Mayer's 500s behind that.
And Walter is
100th above that.
So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sleds covered by 300ths of a second.
And Walter probably had the worst drive of anybody in the top 9.
Great run from Justin Cripps and his team. What a good drive.
Didn't have great start velocity, though.
That'll come. They haven't pushed together this foursome all year until training week.
Well, 8/10 of a kilometer. Look at the air.
Yeah.
You know how much pressure that is?
Yeah, watch the right front runner. Digs the ice out.
Yeah. But everybody's doing that. And then a tap there. Look at that's out of the exit of Kelstein.
Well,
Under the
with
C
those
curve,
two
he hit on
errors,
the take on the C curve.
still
That
with
cost
those
him.
2 errors, 100th out of the medals. Take that on your first heat, won't you? 17th of our 36 sleds down, and finally 34 sleds. We get halfway through the field before we get to our world champion. And why is he so far down? Because he's only done half a season after back surgery in the summer.
Well, they own the start record. These guys have been together for 3 years. This team intact. Oh, there it goes. They wanted their start record. They owned the start record before the Germans broke it. Excuse me. Then they went out and said, let's take it back. This is the world champion. Last year, Friedrich faltered in the 4th run, couldn't match Melbartis, and the Latvians walked away with their first ever world title. 1100s lead, nobody's had that. Skid though in the Jenna, 116.3. The speed is way off. We saw the other Latvian sled have no speed down here.
Still has the lead. Nobody's had the lead below the Kreisel over Johannes Lochner.
Red numbers.
How close will he be? 2nd, 3rd,
11th best speed though.
9th.
3rd.
Oh, 3rd fastest, 1600s behind.
They'll take that. Remember, look where the Germans started, 6th and 11th. Melbartis started 17th. The other German sled started 10th.
Yeah.
Melbartis will start with the Germans in the next heat. He'll get into that moving to that top 2 spot, I think he's got a
16
chance.
hundredths of a second cover the top 3. 25 hundredths of a second cover the top 8.
Well, start record, well, look at the size of these 4 guys. This team's been intact 3 years together. The same guys eat, sleep, drink, and win together. And now when you have some kind of cohesion like that, you can produce a start record like he just did. Now look at the straightaway lines here. Locked there. Well, he found 0.3 of a kilometer an hour. Look at the lines. This looks pretty similar. One hit, and here comes Melbardas following him. A little bit more of a drift. Just spectacular pictures to watch those lines.
Melbardas actually had a better straightaway, and that's why he had a big advantage going into the Kreisel. Now for Chris Spring, he was the one Canadian who had a little bit of a disappointing 2-man competition. With Cam Stones, Josh Kirkpatrick and Neville right behind him. Can they get a big first run under their belts?
I just can't say enough about how it's like the top 12, 14 teams all got great start times. There used to be just a few with starts. Now everybody's got good starts.
Well, they know you have to. If you give away even 100th, you can't win.
Yeah, but it used to be 3 or 4 teams with starts. Now we have 12 or 14.
Look, he's again within 400ths of the leader, 900ths behind as he comes onto the long bending straight.
Big skid there, though, before he got to Jenna. 116.7, it's decent speed.
Better than his teammate Polignato, that's pretty decent. Now, is this going to end up in the top 10? He needs to keep speed on board the sled down at the bottom. Has he got the right runners on for today's ice?
No.
4,500's back, 14th place.
Got crushed on the bottom.
He's going to be in front of his teammate Nick Polignato. They're 14th and 15th.
He got crushed on the bottom.
And he went off 15 sleds later.
Yeah. He'll have a chance in a second. He stays in the top 20. The secret is stay in the top 20. He'll get good ice. He'll move up a couple spots second run. He's dealing with some tough ice right now. This is the Kreisel. And want to watch why the ice isn't that good? Watch the pressure it puts on this Kelstein curve. Watch the way there's a big groove here. Look at the pressure that everybody's going in the same lines.
Yep, exactly.
So it digs up the ice. It's not friction friendly.
2800s cover the top 9. 2800s now go down from 9th to 14th as well. Great Britain's Lamin Dean next up. Ben Simons, John Baines and Andy Matthews. GB with 2 strong teams of athletes. But the one who has been faster in training is their young hope, Brad Hall.
Yeah, he's been flying in practice.
Now don't forget, Lamin Dean was in the bronze medal position after 2 heats overnight in the medals, or challenging rather for the medals in Eagles last year, and was on target to move up into the bronze medal position in heat 3 when they crashed. So he has got the potential.
Well, they all know the start record's been broken twice. This is an athletic team. They should get low 80s at least. Skid, 47. I was challenging those guys, saying, you know, how much longer can we talk about how good of an athletes the 4 are? And they just start getting the start times that they used to get. And they said, no, it's coming. Well, I didn't see it that heat. I mean, their 15th best start. They should be the top 3 or 4.
Finished off 22nd in last year's World Championships in Eagles. They completed the 3rd heat on their heads, but got back up and went on to finish the run.
Well,
16th place at the moment.
Boy.
So slipping behind.
Ooh, late there. Wow, what a big mistake on the bottom part of the track to hit like that in the real steep uphill section. I'd call that a graveyard of time down there. Boy, you just can't do what he just did. Now we're going to start seeing some drop-off in times.
Well, the track with now the better part of 20 sleds down. That was the 19th trip down the track. Really starts to lose its glassy surface.
Well, you know, we keep looking at the back end of the sled. Look at the guys riding in the sled. Look at the way it throws them around. Number 2,
Andy
3. I mean,
Matthews
you know,
back
you're
getting bounced right
75 miles an hour in the You got to ride in there and feel this pressure, but boy, it's tough to do that when you're doing 80 miles an hour, change of direction. Look at this hit on the last curve before the finish. No one's done that, and that's steep uphill.
So Lamindine in 16th place out of the 19 sleds, and here is sled number 20 of 34, Loïc Costergue from La Plagne in France, with Vincent Castel, Yanis Puyard, and Jérémy Bouturin back on the rear handles of the sleds, back to fitness.
Well, he had some good times of training, but 492 start. He's going to have to hit 3-run homer here to get in the top 6 or 7. This is a tough track without a start. Look at these, look at the lines. I mean, he's a good driver. He's got a great piece of equipment. Bruno Manchon designed. 116-1. That's better than Lamindine, but
only just. He's in 16th, just ahead of Lamindine, and I wonder if that indicates what's left in the track.
Nothing left on the track.
13th place last year in the 4-man worlds in Eagles.
9th best speed, so he's
finding it at the bottom, 13th at the line.
Not bad at all.
Well, that offers a bit of hope to those coming later in the
He's going to make the second run, for sure. He's a good driver. You know, when you got the 17th best start, though.
So here's the 20th sled down. We've got a tie for 19th. Thomas Heibel of Norway and Doran Grigori of Romania. And we've got a three-way tie now for 5th place. Krips, Stolnev and Holcomb.
Right.
So there is your three-way tie. Krips, Stolnev and Holcomb, 100th off 4th. Oscars Melbardis, 500s in front of them in 3rd position. Wow. We need to be careful not to peak too early here, John Morgan. We've got 3 more heats of this, and we're in danger of getting the blood pressure through the ceiling. This is our Junior World Champ for 2017, Bennett Buchmuller, with Paul Krentz, Nicholas Scherer, and Costa Lorenz. All of them under 25 years old. And Bennett Buchmuller, Junior World Champion, a former discus thrower. 3 years as a driver, 2 years before that as a brakeman. He's an engineering graduate. And the product he produced for his final paper, a lightweight carbon fiber bobsled push bar.
Yeah.
Do you think that's staying with what you know? Well, you can see that one is made from solid aluminium, but maybe FES will start adopting his design of carbon push bar soon.
Nice, efficient start, decent, 14th best start for the 4th German team in the field. They have a luxury of the 4th because these guys won the Junior World Championships, and the country that wins the Junior World Championships gets an extra sled in the field.
And that's how Francesco Frugic got 2 free World Championship draws, the second of which in St. Moritz, he won the gold medal.
He was doing pretty good till that right there. Speed, off the pace.
Yep, 1:15.7, the fastest speed, just over 1:17. 3/10 back, he's in 14th place.
Yeah, he's going to be in the top 20.
This is close to Loïc Costergue of France. Can he overhaul him? Slipping to 16th, just between Spring and Polignato of Canada, and at the line, that's where he finishes. Well, that's not a bad start for a man who's only been driving for 3 seasons.
He'll take that.
Look at his crew, they're happy with that.
Like it. Little mistake up there in the bend away.
Where's that bear's roar come from, Bennett Buchmuller? He was such a quiet guy when he came for his headshots.
Looks like another young, confident German right there. This didn't help, though. You know, tough to get these 4-mans, these big sport utilities in a skid, but when they do, it costs you. And down here at the back end of the sled, well, we've seen too many of these hyper motion pictures, 500 frames a second showing us. Look at the transition. And look how long it takes for the sled to get on the sidewall.
And look how close the crowd are there to the action. You get sprayed by the ice. There's Bennett Buchmuller, the 2017 Junior World Champion. Just want to say hi to Tony Carlino, the track boss at Lake Placid. Hope you're feeling better, Tony.
We're thinking of you, Tony.
Absolutely. All the best wishes from the US team. This is Nick Cunningham. Spent his season in the North America's Cup, where he came out with a slew of medals, and now back in the World Championships and in the night train.
Well, start time, they're going to have to get in the 80s. 88, not bad. 17th, speed. 12th, so 17th best start, 12th best speed. Now it's up to Cunningham, who had some decent times in training, but training's training, race is race.
Well, he's got a sled that knows how to be driven into winning positions. 1500s back as he got onto the bend away.
This sled won the event right before the Olympics on this track in January of 2014. 15.7's not bad.
Up to 14th place. This is a good run from Cunningham. He needs a good first run to really cement that training confidence.
Ooh, little touch there. That's going to be costly. 16th best speed, but on this time...
Losing speed at the bottom, 16th at the line.
15th, that should put him in the...
Yep, he'll be in the second heat. He's ahead of Chris Spring, Bennett Buchmuller, Nick Polignato, Lamin Dean.
Well, 17th best drive, 15th best start. They got to be happy with that.
Good start from Chris Spring and from Nick Cunningham and the team.
Well, you know, he's pretty experienced on this track. He was here in the 2000. He's 3 years of driving on the track in the World Cup circuit. Wasn't here last year. A little tap there out of the Echo Van going uphill, Nick. That was your major mistake.
15th in last year's Worlds in Innsbruck. And he lies in 15th position after the first heat. From the Czech Republic, this is Jan Verber, their older, more experienced driver, now early 30s, 32 years old, Verber. A veteran of 6 World Championships. He only did the 2-man last year in Innsbruck, didn't do 4-man, but he was here in 2011's Worlds where he finished 17th. His best 4-man Worlds, 10th 2 years ago in Winterberg.
Good pilot, you know, so you expect him to good exits out of the S's, good exit out of Kreisel. Start is going to be a deficiency. Not bad, 483, 9th best start, right on there. 2nd best velocity.
Wow.
Okay.
He's also got a sled with a Bruno Mijon Cal. This is a 2001 Dresden chassis with a Mijon Cal. And he knows this like he knows the route from his bedroom door to his
116, 117. This is the best speed we've seen of any sled of the last 10.
Yeah.
This is top 10, maybe.
I was about to say, it wouldn't be a surprise to see a Czech sled in the top 10, but maybe not this one, and he's about to prove us wrong. 9th at the start, 13th
This
position.
is really good.
He's going to be in front of the other Bruno Mijon sled. No, he's not. Just behind Loic Costet. He's in
Cunningham by 500s. But he beat Cunningham by 500s at the start. That was a good start by these guys.
Yep,
good velocity.
500s faster at the start and over the run. So Cunningham actually outdrove him there because he should have been 1500s better at the bottom, Jan Verber.
Yeah, but Verber's driving this old sled too. Look at the distance
Cunningham's
comparison.
much newer.
Difference almost 2 meters. Meter and a third.
Yeah, and you can see there Lochner just pulling away the overhaul almost to a full length in front.
Watch the back end here. I don't get, look at the spray come up there. Look at the gouges. Look at the gouge in the track.
How hot the wall some of them have been.
Look at this. Look at the back end. Contact. Look at the runner, almost the tip of the runner.
You can't get
Believe
through
these
there
pictures,
clean.
yeah,
You
huh?
cannot get a 4-man through there clean. It's just how hard you hit. Clemens Brescher for Switzerland, no bit hefty in the 4-man competition. Brescher is taking his place with Alan Nutzer, Bror van der Zijde and Marco Durig. And he made his 2-man debut last season. Oh, look at those eyes. Haven't seen those since, which of the Latvians? Jānis Minins, where he was the one with the eyes as big as saucers, wasn't he? My gosh!
But he did the World Cup race in Innsbruck, and he had a 12th place finish. Only race of the year. It was his World Cup debut.
It was indeed. Top 12 on the shortest track in the business.
Coached by Christoph Langen. He'll whip him into shape, that's for sure. 48.
488, good getaway.
Ooh, big hit though. 13th best at the velocity. Big hit on the take-on. I'd like to know how many pictures are being snapped by iPhones on the way down the track.
Yeah. Oh, big slide, huge drifts.
This
And it
is not
just
good.
keeps banging its way out of shape on a... Well, that's really tough for Clemens Brescia, still in 18th place. We know these Citius sleds motor at the bottom.
Well, it doesn't matter what you got. Boy, he was early off that Kelstein into the C-curve, too. Kind of velocity he's got down there, 18th best velocity.
21st place, currently ahead of Ivo de Bruin of the Netherlands, and that's where he crosses the line, but wow.
Look at the coaches, they just look on, that's driver error.
Yeah.
And the first person will tell you that.
Well, the first
Bennett.
tap was unfortunate, but the rest, there's not much he could have done about. When you take a hit, it's just in the lap of the gods how many more it
Let
takes.
it go, just hit it,
Yeah.
take your medicine, let it go, don't try and steer out. He made a very World Championship rookie mistake. Who was the person we saw coming down here sideways like that? It was early, I think it was Nick Polinato. But
Yeah.
Bracker was skidding even down here in the bottom part of this bend around.
It just never came back to him, and you wait for it to come back, and it just didn't, and that's just the luck of the draw, I'm afraid, for Clemens Brescia. So he's in 21st place, Lamindine 20th. Justin Olsen now made his two-man World Championship debut a week ago, now his four-man debut. With Austin Landis, Evan Weinstock, who's on the two-man sled, Sam Mitchener on the back handles. Second year driving a sled for the former Olympic gold medal brakeman, Justin Olsen.
Should be a good start. 479, awesome start. Velocity, 11th best velocity. There's some good athletes in this sled.
It's all those Subway subs they were inhaling yesterday that's got them the speed. Olsen with the lead then into
This
the
is his
S's.
nemesis right here, the S's.
Beautiful exit.
That's as good as he could do. Last week in the Tour, man, he couldn't get out of there clean.
All right, so now he drops out of the lead. The rookie in his first four-man World Championship trip.
1600s back, this isn't bad.
Just outside the top 10 on the splits, 11th exiting the Kreisel.
I mean, this is a World Championship rookie. This guy has made some kind of learning curve this year.
Across the line in the 15th, yeah, 14th place. Nick Cunningham, 17th.
Don't like that. Don't like that. Yes, they'll take that. They'll be happy with that. They'll be happy at the start time.
Absolutely. And the way they're going, probably all three US sleds will be in the top 20 after the first draw.
It's pretty nice, though, driving the sled that you won the Olympic gold medal with in 2010.
No
And that's the sled that you get to compete in your first World Championships.
You get to feel like what it's like to be in the front seat.
Look at Olsen dipping down, though. He was leaning too far to the right, out of the line of the helmets there. I'm sure they'll talk to him about that. But that's just being comfortable in a sled. Boy, he steered around there. You could see the back end of the sled.
Yep.
Not a bad transition.
Trying to avoid taking the hits, but maybe the hit is a less painful way in terms of time.
Good start.
Well, Olsen had a good two-man competition, but boy, the four-man is tight. Johannes Lochner leads a really jam-packed top 10. Two big stories from the two-man worlds coming up next. Rudy Rinaldi of Monaco, and behind him, Dominik Dvorak of the Czech Republic. Rinaldi, what a two-man competition he had with Boris Van behind him. Now they're joined by Thibaut Desmartins and Steven Borges.
These guys get in, get down. That's some pretty big men, some pretty good meat there, 48. They told me they knew that they had a bad draw. They wanted to get 16th or so in the first run. They thought they could move up to 11th or 12th by the third run. He's trying to aim. He doesn't know if he can get in the top 10. But after that performance he had last week, 10th place in the World Championships, he's riding a high curve right here.
Don't forget, we talked to him after training where it had been damp and soft. The ice today is hard and fast.
Didn't get a very good start, though.
No.
You have the 23rd best start. Pretty tough to overcome anything.
23rd spot at the moment, ahead of Norway and Romania.
And you just saw Justin Olsen.
Ahead of Lamindine.
Justin Olsen just came down with a 14th best time, 20th. Well, look at Bruno Menjean.
Just in the top 20.
And I don't know if he's going to stay there. Brad Hall's coming up.
Well, 19th, 20th, 21st are covered by 200ths of a second.
Wow.
It's not just tight at the top. It's tight for every spot in this race.
Nick Polinato is 21st by 100.
Well, listen, the guys who are 25th at the moment, last, are tied. And, you know, I mean, that's this track.
Look at the crowd. This is a very educated crowd here. It's like going to watch hockey at the Montreal Forum and watching the Canadiens.
Only less French accents.
Yeah, but they know a lot about their sport in Montreal, and these people here in Bavaria know a lot about bobsled, luge, and skeleton, I can tell you that.
Now, here's the man that I thought might be a dark horse for a top 10 shot. Dominik Dvorak of the Czech Republic. From being a brakeman a couple of world championships ago, this year he has suddenly lit the place up. Absolutely. He's done 4 World Cup races in 2-man and 4-man, and he has really started to prove, especially in the 2-man, that he has got what it takes.
Well, he's a 100-meter sprinter, 10.9. Finished 6th in the 2-man competition in Innsbruck. And he's, you know, on a steep learning curve like a Justin Olsen. You know, he's a great athlete in the front seat. The Czech's got something here, and he's young. He's, you know, I think he's 26.
Yeah, he didn't race here 3 weeks ago, because he was at the Junior Worlds.
He's start, you know, 86, not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, people used to be 2500s away at the start. Everybody's within a 10th. Athleticism in 4-man bobsledding. Testament to the sport and how it's attracted the athletes it has.
Little skid from Dvorak into the Jena curve. What's he got out of the Kreisel? He's in 23rd place, so he's slipped out of the top 20.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a 4-man experienced pilot yet, you know, and he's just putting in his time. First World Championships as a 4-man driver. 24.
And is that not... Oh, is there 2-man sled that's got the other wrap on the red and blue livery? Yeah. No, that's the one he's using 2 or 3 weeks ago.
The graphics company, that's the sponsor.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful kit.
49.13 slide for Dominik Dvorak. So he comes across the line in 24th place. 600s behind Clemens Brascher of Switzerland, a fellow rookie.
Well, let's see how he gets through the hyper motion angles here. Look at these pictures. Look at the airborne. Look at the front runner was turning. You saw the front runner. He had it yanked. Robin Hood, we haven't used that expression in a while. He's just learning. Now this is something we're going to be able to talk about here. This guy's been lighting it up in training.
Well, again, they were hoping to get a really early start draw. Instead, they're in 28th spot. Joel Fearon, the 3rd fastest ever 100-meter run by a UK athlete during the summer. Bruce Tasker, who raced in the 2-man yesterday, and Greg Cackett on the back. He said, please don't call me Gregory. I said, you're not in trouble. I'm not your mother. You can be Greg on air. Brad Hall coming off injury, severed all 4 tendons on the back of his right hand in a crash early in the season.
Whistler,
4.78, 100th off the start record.
And the best velocity into the first curve. And this is another great athlete. They've rushed from the back seat to the front seat. And I see a lot of promise here.
Well, if he can resist the nerves creeping in, he really has a shot at a big result.
116 speed. 100, no, that can't be right.
119.3, 74.1 miles an hour. They're brand new Singer sleds. Although, actually, I think he's driving the one that was crashed by Lamin Dean last year. He is 1200s behind the leader, Brad Hall.
He's going to be
out
the top
of the
10.
28 start draw.
Top 10 at least.
And across the
13th,
line, 13th place.
That's okay. With that type of start, he's going to go fresher ice next heat. That's a great run coming out of this start draw. Let me tell you something, if I have people in Great Britain, I'm pretty excited about this athlete.
28th out, I'd be impressed with a German getting a 13th fastest time. Brad Hall, that's the way to start your debut World Championships in a front seat of a 4-man. It's not his first, he was a brakeman in the 4-man in Innsbruck last season.
Congratulations, that's impressive.
I know John Jackson is watching. He was a brakeman for Jacko with John Baines and
especially
Andy
with what he's been through with that hand injury all year.
And do you know what? He's just wandering through this as though it's another training week. It's not had any effect on him. Patrick Baumgartner of Italy, the first of our 2 Italian sleds, and they drew next to each other. Baumgartner by some margin, the youngest.
Look at their
in the
uniforms
field.
now. Look at their new uniforms.
Yeah.
The Italian got a lot of kit. They got the best clothes. They might not win here at the bottom, but they're dressed the best.
Hey, style. What am I going to tell you?
Italiano.
What about it?
Oh no, do it.
Well, they went on 2. Did they jump offside? That's their snap. They don't wait for 3.
Now, isn't Bumgarner the junior world champion?
Not this year, yeah.
2012.
Yeah.
I think he's the junior world champion in the Innsbruck Junior Olympics in 2012.
I have to check on that.
Ooh, really high in the second X. Really got away from it.
Well, 27th at the start, 27th on the splits at the moment. So heading for a 3-way tie, possibly with Thomas Heibel and Dorin Grigori. Wouldn't be the first 3-way tie we've got in our leading group or in our field at the moment.
Well, when you have the 27th best start time of 29 sleds, you're going to be relegated to 25th.
Still in 27th, so he's ahead of the tie. And he is just in front of them, 1500s ahead of Thomas Heibel and Dorin Grigori as he crosses the line in 49.28. What'll be interesting now is to see what his vastly more experienced teammate Simone Battazzo does immediately afterwards, so on all but comparable ice. And that gives us a position to judge where Baumgartner really is. Again, he
got really high in the S. Look at how high. Look at he's up near the roof there.
And that's because he cut the corner 1 to 2.
Yeah, and
came late off 2 and then
shot up to the top of 3.
Yeah.
I think he hit the roof.
He might well have done. Well, that's going to turn you back down into 4. Not the best way, maybe, but it is going to turn you.
They do win the award for style.
Well,
another one.
Yeah, there you go. 2 Pirelli sleds for the Italian team. Simone Battazzo there with the red, white and green, the tricolore on the helmet. With Simone Fontana, Constantino Ughi and Mattia Variola, who's the addition to the team this season. Well, Battazzo, the veteran Italian, really struggles for pace at the start. 19th in last year's 4-man worlds, didn't complete the 2-man worlds in Eagles last year. Pulled out after day 1.
Twilight of his career, probably on the way to his last World Championships. The Olympics will be his swan song, and hopefully he'll stay in the sport, coach the Italian team, which he's like a player coach now.
Yeah, the Dave Marcus almost to the team, owner-driver.
You got Gunter Huber here, the 1998 Olympic gold medalist. We saw Gunter, it's always a pleasure to see him. I just saw Ingo Appelt, the 1992 Olympic gold medalist for Austrian 4-man. We saw Wolfgang Hoppe, we saw Andre Lange. The track is full of former Olympic gold medalists here.
And that's why we need more historic sleds, because the drivers are still here. There's not enough sleds. 27th, he's only just in front of his teammate, Patrick Baumgartner.
Well, the start
was only just in front of his teammate. He was 500ths faster at the start than his teammate. He comes down 1100ths faster at the bottom.
But you know, this is a guy who won a World Championship medal in 2007 in 2-man. He's won World Cup 4-man events in Sestriere, the Torino track.
Yep.
You know, but he's in the twilight of his career. His father used to compete in the 80s. Good friends with Joey. And the exit of Ekovan, then he taps a little bit going uphill.
27th and 28th, the 2 Italian sleds out of the 30 that have left the start building so far. Johannes Lochner leads an insane field. Top 10 covered by 0.3 of 1 second. Ridiculously tight. 4 to go still in the first of 4 heats of the 4-man bobsleigh World Championships. Serbia's Vuk Radjenovic, talked to him about an hour ago before the start of the race. He was looking relaxed and happy in the sunshine, ready to take on what will probably be his last World Championship 4-man event.
His father Boris told me that it would be their last.
Boris raced in Sarajevo in the Olympic Games.
Yeah, he took me down on a couple camera sled rides in that Sarajevo track. That was quite a little short 1,300-meter track like this with a lot of personality, especially the Omega curve to 13.
It's turned into a BMX track. The BMXers have patched the holes in it that were created during the war. Oh, that's a big hit.
He had a 10th place finish, I think, on this track at a World Cup. I think he had a little assist with some German runners. Oh, it was in Innsbruck when he had that 10th place finish a few years ago.
Takes a hit at the bottom of the labyrinth, as everybody does. Out of echo, 2 corners to go, climbing uphill.
And safely.
Through at the line, 31st spot with a 49.78 run. Well, these guys want to get down, enjoy their World Championship experience. And of course, Vuk, still a fierce competitor.
Well, the start, you know, you can't have the 30th best start and expect to compete, but they're here. Look how high he got there, that S. Whoa, look at that line. Wow. Yeah. I don't, look at, you can see the runner marks. He's like a foot above any other line.
He had to really haul it off, or they'd have flown
nobody,
outside.
We've seen up there in the 2 weeks.
They'd have flown out there upside down on their heads, so he really had to work hard to get it out. And again, maybe cutting the corner in the 1-2 transition is what sets all that wheels in motion. Matches Luthi, another man who had a good 2-man World Championships, finished way up in the teens, certainly outperforming his humble ranking.
Look at the smiles, huh?
Yeah.
It's just good energy here.
Only 3 4-man races this season. 22nd place in the World Cup here 3 weeks ago. So he's got relative experience of the track.
Janins Minins is now coaching them, the former Latvian World Cup winner. And, you know, he won the World Cup pre-Olympic test in Whistler in 2009, which is a bad luck thing. And the proof is that the day before the opening ceremonies in Whistler at the Olympics, he got appendicitis.
That's right.
Had his appendix removed. Tried to come back 2 weeks later, didn't. Retired. Now he's coaching the Polish. Good move by the Polish to bring Janins Minins and his instincts into the sport.
Yeah, he's got a lot of knowledge, a lot of contacts in the sport. Can only help them accelerate their program. 28th at the start, slipped a spot or 2 to 30th at the moment. Behind Romania, ahead of Serbia, and at the line he is behind Romania and ahead of Serbia. There's Jannis Minins on the right.
He's so competitive. He's probably going to go throw a few things out in the...
Well, he'd have been disappointed if they were second, not first. That's the way you learn how to win, by having a winner as your coach.
Well, I think that a lot of it has to relate 5-6 spots at least to the track. He's capable of 23rd. Not much wrong here. Look at the spray. Look at the gouges in the ice. You can see the crossover. Look at the crossover under the curve, the take-on. What compelling pictures. It's unbelievable to see 1,400 pounds transition like that at 80 miles an hour.
Stuff the human eye can't make out. Dragan Cilic, what a smile he had on his face this morning. I said, are you liking this? He said, what do you mean? World Championships, stunning weather, a fun track. We're going to have a great time. That's exactly what they're here for.
Yeah.
These guys, really a part-time crew. They all have full-time jobs to try and fund their bobsledding.
You know, just taking their 3 heats. Ooh, Cilic almost didn't get in. He almost didn't get in.
Remember, we saw the top 2 Germans do exactly the same thing in one of the races a couple of weeks ago.
This isn't bad velocity. 15th best velocity out of a 29th start. I'd confuse it. He almost didn't get in. Maybe that's what you got to do.
That's the secret. 31st place as he gets on to the bending straight away.
Anything above 115. 117 speed is excellent.
You know, we're going to have a battle at the tail of our field between the small nations, Romania, Poland, Serbia, Croatia. And these smaller emerging nations in the bobsledding world with very little in the way of finance and everything in the way of heart. 30th place, he's ahead of Maciej Luthi of Poland, and at the line stays in front by 500, just behind Dorin Gregore and Thomas Heibel, who went first and fifth.
Look at this guy, he's a fun guy.
He loves this with a passion that matches anybody else in the sport. And that's why they sacrifice full-time careers.
Hello to their Ivan Solo, their president,
Yeah.
back and watching, I'm sure. Ivan, you keep sending us athletes. Oh,
Yeah.
but he's got it, Dragon. You got to get in the sled. He almost fell out the other side.
Well, there you go. That's his mishap in the World Championships. Now he can enjoy the next 2 trips. Gets a good exit out the Kreisel.
Well, the 4-mans are doing better with this section of the track than the skeleton sleds did earlier today.
Well, there's a lot more weight to control it. There's Drazen Cilic. Yeah, little undulation there. And our final sled will make history. Last year we had a demonstration race with all-female crews. This year, Maria Constantin, Olivia Wild, Andrea Grecu and Erika Halle are mixing it with the men. And their expectation is purely same as the Croatians we've just seen, same as the Poles and the Serbs, to do as well as they possibly can.
You think the Romanians bring a little passion to the sport?
Yeah, they lack nothing in heart. The men or the women, they have skeleton athletes. They bring everything. 5:39 gets
History
away.
made last week. One of the Romanian athletes, I think it was the driver here.
Yeah, Maria Constantin.
She was on an international team with 3 Germans that won a bronze medal in the team competition. That's what the team competition is about.
And in fact, they pointed out that it was half Romanian. I said, really? Yeah. Alexander Gassner, the men's skeleton slider who slides for Germany, was born in Romania with Romanian parents who emigrated to Germany.
Back of the sled, they have a Sinaia logo. Sinaia was a beautiful track. 30s, 40s, 50s. The Romanians were winning medals. Pantera won an Olympic medal in Grenoble. Won a World Championship medal in Lake Placid in 73.
And they held the World Push Championships there this summer as well.
Yeah. Congratulations, ladies.
50.48.
There's the driver of the bus right there, Paul Miagu. He left Romania in the mid-'80s, went to Winterberg, Germany. That's where he really promotes the sport for Romania.
That's where the Romanian team's based. He's got a physiotherapy clinic there as well. And he facilitates it, doesn't he? He finds these athletes with the passion, and he makes it happen for them.
And she knows how to drive a 4-man.
Yes, she does. Little slide from the tail there in the Kreisel, and that might just be that the athletes are a lot slighter than the men.
And you know, the weight, you know, there's talk about if they had a smaller 4-man sled, it might fit the weight better.
So there is Maria Constantin, Olivia Wild behind her, and Andrea Grecu and Erika Halle there as well.
Well, Johannes Lochner.
Boy, oh boy, what a race we've got on our hands. Germany 1, 2, 3.
You know, he's the favorite. He was disqualified at the last event in Innsbruck for hot runners. He's been sick. But this day, you know, with his family, who live right down the street a mile away, Lochner breaks the track record at the bottom. He's the leader, sets the pace, and he's not locked into anything, though. It's a pretty tight race.
It is insanely tight. Look how close it is. 1600s, the top 3. Nico Valter, 2200s. Justin Cripps, Alexei Stolnev, Stephen Holcomb, 2300s out. Kazyanov not out of contention. Maya maybe not out of contention. There's 3 tenths down to the bottom of the top 10 with Rico Peter. And honestly, maybe any of them might get into a medal. Certainly a top 6 finish is up for grabs for anybody down to Maxim Andrianov. And Brad Hall, 13th after the first heat, coming out of almost 30th start position. What a good first run from him. Some really interesting stories and some very tight battles. Bottom of the top 20, 3 sleds covered by 200s. That's going to be a battle in the second heat when we go 20 down to 1 and then 21 to 34. So the sleds will be back on the ice at 20 minutes past 3 local time, which is 14:20 Greenwich Mean Time. Join John Morgan, me, Martin Haven, and the rest of the IBSF TV crew trackside in Königssee for Heat 2 of the 4-man World Championships.